The Miami Heat have been one of the sweetest shooting teams in the league this year, and with their personnel, it's not hard to see why. And it's precisely the ability to stroke it from deep that will keep the W's piling up against an Indiana team that has struggled mightily to defend them. So let's take a deep dive into what the Heat are doing to generate so many good looks from downtown. Over the past 3 seasons, teams that have outshot their opponents by 6 or more three-pointers have won 80% of the time, and that's what the Heat did to the Pacers last night. Nate McMillan was asked about defending Miami's sweet shooting Duncan Robinson.
Well, we knew that they were going to try to get him involved. We really set and talked about the first play of the game. We knew it was going to him, and sure enough, it went to him to try to get him going. He's a big part of what they do, and he was able to knock down that first three. He made us pay each time that he had an open look.
Making them pay was an understatement, as he hit 7 of 8 from deep, and Oladipo does a nice job staying relatively glued to him for the first half of the possession. However, watch what he does on this inside pick and roll. There is absolutely no need for him to help with Miles Turner in perfect position. He's now created about a 20-foot gap between him and Robinson, and it's an easy pass and open shot, something you never want to do for a shooter, especially on the first play of the game. We can examine the misses as well to see how there are some foundational issues with the Pacers' defense. This flip screen by Dragic sucks Brogdon down to help cover the cut by Crowder, putting him 3 steps behind on the handoff. Brogdon compounds the issue by going underneath the handoff, giving Dragic a decent look that misses a little short. However, that initial cut by Crowder got him inside position for the rebound, and the first thing good shooting teams look for on offensive boards are open shooters. Butler provides a semi-screen for Robinson, and that, my friends, is a practice shot. And that's all he needs to make the bucket look 5 feet wide. Giving up penetration immediately is always a recipe for open threes, and Sumner can't keep Hero in front. I don't mind leaving Iguodala open for as many threes as possible, but instead, they run 3 guys at him, and while Jones is a terrible shooter, you just don't want to see the rotation screwed up this much. On this step-up screen, let's analyze the rotations. Turner is dropping to contain while McDermott chases the ball. Normally, the lowest man would rotate over and the farthest man would split the difference between the 2 weak side players. But Sampson is bigger, so I get why he goes to help. Holiday is a little late recognizing this, and Adebayo adds another obstacle. Leaving your feet to contest a great shooter is a must in this league, and I love how he lands sideways, ready to continue harassing Hero into this miss. More confusion in transition picking up their men, which can't happen, and I can imagine Doug's dad yelling at him for futzing with his hair instead of picking up his man, but they dodge a real bullet. We get some beautiful movement off pistol action to start. This handoff is supposed to flow into an inside ball screen by Olynyk, but instead Iguodala rejects the screen to get into the lane. Turner rotates over and Holiday is supposed to split the difference between the 2 weak side defenders. Very poor footwork to slalom stop and he falls down. Hero immediately collapses the defense from the wing, and Holiday can't recover as Iguodala finds the open shot and knocks this one down. I love how Adebayo can grab boards and immediately push it. It allows the offense to stretch the floor quicker, and it also forces the mismatch, as the 6-foot Holiday is now guarding the 7-foot Olynyk. Even if Holiday didn't go underneath the handoff, I doubt he'd been able to affect this shot much at all. The offense doesn't have to be complicated to generate open looks. A high pick and roll to the right side sees Oladipo bump down on the roll man, but then he foolishly tries to take a charge in the lane. All he does is take himself completely out of the play as we get some nice ball movement to a wide open corner 3 for the best shooter in the league. In the second half, the Heat set a rip screen for Adebayo that gets their initial penetration below the free throw line, forcing a mismatch. TJ Warren falls asleep and lets Jimmy Butler cut to the hoop behind him. I like that Oladipo is willing to help, but he didn't need to help that much, especially because he's off the best shooter in the league. While he does recover to contest initially, he doesn't rotate in the air to pop back into the play, and it's another open look for the one guy they can't afford to give open looks to. The Heat break into an inside ball screen, and TJ Warren does not need to help here. Miles Turner is already in good position. To compound the issue, he loses track of his own man, and this forces a major rotation as Holiday must prevent the layup by Turner's man. Had Brogdon been alert, he would have recognized this and been heading over to the shooter. Instead, Holiday is left to do all the work and can't get to Crowder in time. It's a little hard to tell, but I think Oladipo might have tried to take another charge on a Heat big, this time in transition, and it leaves Duncan Robinson open for a practice shot. Can you hear me shaking my head? Making a good pass to the shooter is of vital importance. An erroneous pass can lower a shooter's percentage several points. And that's what happens when Adebayo is off target with his handoff and Crowder can't smoothly get into his shot. Another example of an off-target pass out of the pick and roll eliminates a potential shot attempt, but the Heat run a high post split into a handoff. Now, this turns into a pick and roll, and look where Miles Turner is, in perfect defensive position. There is no need to be helping one pass away off the corner by Brogdon. They dodge another bullet with his simple kick to the corner for a wide-open three. The Heat waste no time after this steal, breaking into a patterned offense. Unclear to me why Turner wants to jab towards Adebayo's roll, considering the ball is on its way to the basket. Holiday then feels like he needs to rotate all the way to help, and the Pacers rotate correctly, up until the point Oladipo chases the ball here. He would have been better off conserving some energy and letting Brogdon close out. Brogdon does a poor job. In order to properly contest in the air, you want to be the second jumper. This doesn't happen, so suddenly Oladipo needs to switch. Holiday moves to cover, but the skip pass is just too much ball movement, and they hit another triple. A very common set in the Heat's offense is the ball screen into flare screen for Robinson, but it's played well by Oladipo, forcing the Heat into secondary action. On the pass to pick across the top, watch what Sampson does here. He drops way too far against a shooter like Robinson. Oladipo does a good job to stay close, but he's giving up 4 or 5 inches, and Robinson is just too good and too hot. While Tyler Hero gets credit for making this open three, it's all about Oladipo's poor attempt at defending the ball screen for Butler. He shouldn't be caught in this position, allowing a straight line drive to the hoop. And in the purely modern NBA way, Butler passes up the dunk for the wide open three, and Hero drops it clean through the net. If the Pacers don't fix their rotations and positioning, this is going to be a short series for them. As Dragic attacks the left side, watch Holiday on the weak side. He doesn't realize Olynyk is cutting, but then stops short to help despite his brother bumping down properly. Justin also doesn't tell McDermott that he's left his man alone in the corner, so McDermott stays glued to Iguodala lifting to the wing. And all this means it leaves an elite three-point shooter wide open, but they get pretty darn lucky yet again. This possession ended for the Pacers right about here. Did you see it? Let me show you again. Sampson had contained the pick and roll, and McConnell had gotten back in position to back him up. But then he pushes his own teammate down? Now they've got a mismatch, and Sampson isn't playing close enough to a shooter like Dragic, who pushes the lead back to double digits. It's remarkable how pushing the ball at even 80% speed can lead to scores, as the Pacers are forced to cross-match. That said, Jimmy Butler has been a terrible three-point shooter on very low volume this year, but when you're already down 9, you can't give him nothing. Adebayo gets away with a push in the back to get this offensive rebound, and on this kick out, Brogdon inexplicably lets the ball go, confusing Oladipo, who is ready to start guarding Dragic. Still recovering from the rebound, Holiday gets beat easily by Hero, and the Pacers erroneously send 2 defenders to the ball. That leaves Brogdon to cover 3 players, and as a result, he can't get to the shooter in time, and this game is all about over. About to finish it off with an 11-point lead, the double ball screen out top is defended perfectly, forcing a reset. But watch the positioning. Turner is dropped in preparation for Dragic to go to his right around the screen. Brogdon's only job is to make sure Dragic doesn't reject the screen, yet he jumps out of the way on a simple crossover move. Justin Holiday is already in help, no need for Oladipo to be helping one pass away here, especially off a shooter like Hero. This type of driving kick can be mastered by even young kids, and Hero puts the final nail in the coffin. While the Pacers are really short-handed, without one of their all-stars, no one is feeling sorry for them in the playoffs. And with a team like Miami that can shoot the cover off the ball, you had better have clean rotations and proper positioning, or else you'll have to get out of the kitchen. If you like this video, click the thumbs up button and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe for more playoff breakdowns coming up. We'll have at least one a day during the postseason, so turn on those notifications so you can be alerted right away. You in?